Jerome's Great Hollerin by Mr. Morrison, in honor of Albert Einstein. It was the Old West. There was Jerome, the fighting feller, over on the right, and then theirs was Ricky, who always was horny, and there was scarf-wearing Jimmy, who loved to wrestle, and his wife Betsy, and Billy the Goat, a goat. Oh, and Frankenstein's monster, he was there too. "That mozzarella fiend, see?" said Jerome. "He's got all the money. He's got so much treasure. He stole it from my pappy in ancient times. And I aim to get it back.
Uh-oh.
Who wants to come with me on a wagon train to the mozzarella fiend's lair and get a share in the loot?" It turned out everyone did, and Billy even agreed to pull the wagon. They all set out with much optimism, spirits were high, and Ricky found a way to walk without actually supporting his entire weight somehow. Maybe he was jumping. They came to a village of the Lakota, where they met Nell and her father, the chief, who was inspecting a pineapple. "The mozzarella fiend is scarier than you realize," said the chief, but Nell agreed to go with them at least part of the way. This was before cowboys had started being quite as bad a bunch of dicks to native people. But then the village was attacked by centaurs! Centaurs are assholes! They were after Nell's rare booty, but she did that thing people do in anime where the background suddenly becomes a bunch of lines. Also, the Frankenstein monster used his skills at hitting people, and Jimmy wrestled a few of them, and Jerome had his guns, and soon the centaurs was done and dead. "Gadzooks," said Jerome. "We make a good team."
Well done.
For some reason, there are two of Jimmy on this page. "We are Americans," said Jimmy's tethered doppelganger.
Aha!
"Look," said Jerome, "there's Fort Pooperman. We can stop there before we head into the mountains." They arrived at the bunkhouse where they met the fort's boss guy, Mr. Humbagumble. "Storms are coming," he said ominously. Indeed it was, and soon they were snowed in. Mr. Sasquatch was watching. All that evening, Ricky was inappropriately horny with Nell and made some kind of racist comments. "You know you want these nuts," he said. Nell was having none of it. She did not want those nuts. Mr. Humbagumble took Jerome on a tour of Little Italy. Yes, the frontier fort had a Little Italy. "Mamma mia!" cried Antonio. "Somebody touch my spaghetti!" exclaimed Domenico. A month passed and they were still snowed in at Fort Pooperman. They had to resort to cannibalism to survive. Mr. Humbagumble was a bit gamey. Finally the snow thawed and there was a tremendous flood in which an 80s rocker drowned, and so did scarf-wearing Jimmy. They set out into the mountains, but their wagon sprung a wheel. When they made camp, some type of theropod dinosaur that wasn't a T-Rex because it had too many fingers attacked and carried off Jerome. Maybe it was Guanji. They were without a leader. Billy the Goat went to visit Old Stan, the goat guru, for advice. Old Stan agreed to join them and help fix the cart. "I should be the new leader," said Ricky. "I've got the biggest dick here."
Hello.
I' faith, of all those present with dicks, his was probably the smallest. I mean, it was Frankenstein's monster and a couple of goats. So they decided Old Stan should lead them. Finally, they found the entrance to the underworld. This path would take them to the mozzarella fiend. "I've come this far," said Nell. "I might as well see this thing through." They came to a place with lots of statues. "We should be careful," said Old Stan. "This looks like the realm of a Gorgon." "Psst, Ricky," whispered the Gorgon. "Want to see my titties?" Ricky sure did, and he was turned to stone. But the others escaped. They found themselves in a cool underground disco. They knew they were entering the realm of Mr. Gareth Miller. Gareth Miller leapt from the shadows and strangled Billy to death. He was a dead goat now, you know. But Betsy, who hadn't really done anything this whole story, dropped one of the Gorgon statues on him. Mr. Gareth Miller was no more. There were only 4 of them left now, but the scenery was getting scarier, and they realized they had to be close to the lair of the mozzarella fiend. Thereupon they were beset by the ghastly purple spiders of Ling. A mighty battle followed. Betsy was the first to die, and Frankenstein's monster was badly bitten, but the spiders were soon vanquished. Soon they came to an underground geography classroom full of skeletons, most of which were hanging from the ceiling. This was very confusing. Pain bad, said Frankenstein's monster, and he died of spider bite.
Ow.
Old Stan and Nell finally came to the bridge that would lead them across an underwater lake and into the realm of the mozzarella fiend.
What would happen if we tried to swim this?
Wondered Nell. A water monster appeared and old Stan looked all smug. That, he said, tipping his fedora. But the sea monster wasn't really they had to worry about because suddenly Gary the Sphinx showed up. You have to answer my riddle before I let you cross, he explained.
I'm very wise,
said Stan.
I can answer any goddamn riddle you've got for me, you piece of shit, Sphinx.
We'll see, fuckface, said Gary, because mine is more of a trivia question. Who designed the monster and creature from the Black Lagoon?
That's easy,
said Stan.
Bud Westmore.
This was not the correct answer.
What?
Do you know? Gary asked Nell.
Nope, she said. I'm out of here.
If only she had known it was Millicent Patrick, the adventure could have proceeded. But she didn't, and it wasn't worth guessing. So she left. On the way home, she had to fight Candace the Cannibal, but she won. Her dad was happy to see her.
Well done.
But nobody ever got the treasure back from the mozzarella fiend. A huge thank you to all of the incredible people who support me on Patreon, particularly Zachary Snowden Smith, Break System BSE, Michael Fattori, and Xana Zira. Thank you for watching, and thanks for being you.